Sarasota County Bar Association is a proud partner in bringing you Law in Sarasota. With voluntary membership of over 900 lawyers and judges, the Sarasota County Bar Association is your community's leader in advancing legal professionalism, practice development, and public service. Visit www.sarasotabar.com for more information and to use the online directory list to find an attorney.
Welcome to Law in Sarasota. This program is brought to you by a grant from the Community Foundation of Sarasota County and the Sarasota County Bar Association. The Education Channel produces the program and broadcasts from its state-of-the-art campus on Beneva Road. They make this program possible. I'm Senior Judge Lee Hayworth. The legal profession has a vested interest in our schools. Education is the most powerful weapon which can be used to change the world. So said Nelson Mandela. This world needs change, positive change, and we need young people equipped for the challenge. For this reason, attorneys in our community devote time and resources to sharing their knowledge of the law with our students, because the law is one of society's most powerful change agents. This brings me to the topic of our discussion today, Booker High School's Law Academy. Started in 2013, it is located on the high school campus. It's an immersive experience for those who have an interest in the legal profession or in a career in law enforcement. Under the direction of Principal Dr. Rachel Shelley and her staff, with support from the Sarasota County Bar and local law firms, a rigorous curriculum has been developed that teaches both basic and complex legal concepts. It's a voluntary program, and when students complete the course, they have a solid educational foundation in the legal profession and the criminal justice system.
We're here today to hear the case of Francis Mallory versus the state. Plaintiffs, are we ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, are we ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed. So what they have to do is they get this packet of witness statements and exhibits, and they have to put together what they believe happened and also how they believe it happened, and they do this through cross-examination, direct examination, and open and closing statements.
Let the record reflect that I am now showing opposing counsel Plaintiff Exhibit 8. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Let the record reflect that I am now showing the witness what has been previously marked as Plaintiff Exhibit 8. You were seeing a mock trial of a Troop 55 camping trip that went wrong and someone burned to death in a fire, and I was trying to prove the defendant's negligence. By opinions you don't want to hear, justice for you, exclamation mark, correct?
This is my motto, but it's just for simply a selling point for my business to get more traction to my website.
Your website.
I'm more interested in the Law Academy and taking it next year, so I kind of took mock trial because I like the court setting, and that's my passion.
You did hold an event for Sammy after your death, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Scoutmaster Smith did attend that event, correct?
He came late and he never apologized to me.
You know, being a freshman, and going into high school, it's a very nervous thing. So it was nice to finally find a place where I could do something I'm interested in and be around so many nice people and nice teachers, and it's all just a very welcoming community at the Law Academy.
We have with us today two guests who have participated in the Law Academy in different capacities. One's a practicing attorney who has devoted countless hours as a volunteer coach teaching students about the Constitution, trial procedures, important cases, and statutes. Our second guest is a student who took the course and who will graduate Booker this year. She'll share her experiences at the Academy. So let's meet our guest. Hagen, I'm going to start with you. Let me give you a brief introduction. Hagen is a Sarasota native, himself a product of our Sarasota County schools. He has many distinctions, not the least of which is that he's a Sarasota High School graduate. One bit of trivia, in his senior year at Sarasota High, he won a state championship in tennis. He graduated, went on to the University of California at Santa Barbara, played a little tennis there. He got his law degree later from the University of Miami. He is a recipient of the Sarasota County Bar President's Award for Community Involvement. I guess I should also mention he's in his first term as an elected Sarasota City Commissioner. When he's not at City Hall, he has a law practice focusing on civil, insurance, and criminal litigation. Next to Hagen is Dorian Bizeau. Ms. Bizeau is an alumna of the Law Academy, and instead of me telling you about her, I'm going to let her do that in just a few minutes. Let me just say that you may hear things about Pineview students' achievements, Riverview's independent baccalaureate program, Sarasota High's Cambridge Advanced International Certificate of Education, but you don't hear a whole lot about the outstanding and exceptional students at Booker High School. In just a moment, you're going to hear from one. So, Hagen, will start with you. How did you get involved in the Law Academy?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us, Judge. Really appreciate being here and shining some light on this really great program. I got involved in the program several years ago when I was still a prosecutor litigating criminal cases. I had became interested in the program after hearing about the incredible classroom and the kids and the interest that the school was putting into the legal profession. So I decided to get involved and just immediately fell in love with the curriculum, but more so the students and their energy and excitement about these issues.
How does the Bar Association, how did they get involved with this, and how are they interact with the law school?
Well, they're there for support. I'm very involved in the bar, and one of our kind of subsidiaries, the Diversity Committee, has been really there from the get-go to offer support to a lot of these programs and these teachers. So the kinds of support they help with financial support, but they also help with coordinating attorneys, legal professionals, judges to come into the classroom to really add to the schoolwork, the real-world experience that these professionals can lend to the curriculum.
Well, you were a volunteer coach, so tell me something about the scope of the curriculum. What sort of things do they address with the students that fall into the areas of either the legal profession or law enforcement?
So, well, maybe Dorian might be able to help us out with this, but as far as my involvement, I focused mainly on the trial team, the mock trial team, which is similar to an after-school club experience where students that participate in the Law Academy during the school day also have the extracurricular experience of the trial team. And what that is a competition that takes place in every judicial circuit across the state. And we at Booker High School will send a team to compete in that competition that we do locally for a chance to vie for the state championship, which is traditionally held in Orlando.
And I think coincidentally, that mock court operation is this weekend that we're filming this.
Correct. The 12th Circuit competition is this weekend at the Sarasota County Courthouse, and there's going to be 6 different high schools competing, vying for that chance to go to the state championship. And it's really incredible. And I can tell you, as someone who's participated in my own mock trials when I was studying to become an attorney in law school, the caliber and the issues that these kids are dealing with are at such a high level, you can't help but be impressed at the execution and how quickly they grasp it and what they're able to do.
Let's talk about the physical facility itself. Where do the students actually do this?
So at Booker High School, through contributions from different community partners, they were able to build a mock courtroom that is really akin to any courtroom that you would see in a major courthouse. It's beautiful. It has AV support. It's got the witness stand, the judge's chair, the jury box, and it really gives the kids an immersive experience and allows them to practice for a legal profession in a very realistic way.
Well, I got to put it in a plug for our law firms too, because it was through contributions that they made, as well as other community partners, that made that possible. School board wasn't crazy about building a courtroom at Booker for limited funding, but the community did respond, including several attorneys and their law firms, to help that come into being. So, Dorian, let's talk about you. Tell me about yourself, what you're doing, and we'll get into the Law Academy in just a moment. But just tell us about yourself and how you came to be to Sarasota and what you're doing now?
Well, I am a senior at Booker High in the Law Academy. I'm also in the dual enrollment program where I take outside college classes through the school, and they're used as both college and high school credit. I am an intern at the Law Place, and I am an executive assistant at the Edwards Law Firm, which is a real estate firm right here in Sarasota. I was connected and given the experience to help me land the job through the Law Academy, and it has definitely been a great experience.
Well, let me ask you about this dual enrollment. How does that work?
Dual enrollment is where I attend some high school classes and some college classes at the same time. There's a special scholarship that funds all of the everything down to the textbooks for any student in the dual enrollment program. And the credits that I earn are easily applied to my next degree, whether that's an associate's degree or bachelor's. The credits can be transferred toward my college degree. So it's just helping any dual enrollment student to save money and time in their secondary education.
So what do you want to do after you graduate? What's your plans for college if you have them?
After I graduate from Booker High, I'm going to transfer to a four-year university, probably in the state of Florida. And from there, I'll apply to law school. I want to be a Sarasota attorney, just like Mr. Brody.
Okay, well, that's quite a goal.
Yeah.
And I think in the past you've told me that you had hobbies. You were a dancer.
Yes.
And you did some ballet.
Yes. Only ballet.
Only ballet, and you also played lacrosse.
I did.
Okay, those great sports. So let's talk about the Law Academy, and tell me about the programs or the curriculum that you've been exposed to, or that perhaps other students do that maybe you didn't do.
Sure. The Law Academy offers two distinct tracks. One of them is for students interested in the law and its application in the courtroom. And the other path is for students more interested in law enforcement, becoming a police officer or a detective. And those two work very harmoniously within the Law Academy, just as they do in the community. For the students more interested in law, there are classes like court procedures, where you learn about only how to conduct yourself in the courtroom, how to address a judge and a jury respectively.
It's not like Boston Legal, right? I mean,
No.
there's certain decorums and civility that
Yes.
occurs in the courtroom, which they try to teach the students.
There are. There's a lot of tradition rooted in our judicial system, and court procedures is almost exclusively to teach us about those traditions and how to respect them. There's a constitutional law class, which teaches in-depth, article by article, about our Constitution. It also ties today's world in with the world of the Constitution, and we think about how the Constitution can be applied differently and interpreted differently.
Well, let me digress just a moment. When we pick juries, we have, of course, a cross-section of the community coming in. We have a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds who I don't think went to Sarasota district schools, but they've never heard of the three branches of government.
Wow.
You start talking about the right to remain silent. You talk about the right to have an attorney, Fourth Amendment issues, and a lot of people your age, frankly, have not had the exposure that you have. So it's very encouraging to hear that.
Yeah.
So what were the toughest classes that you took in the academy?
The comprehensive law studies class was probably the most time-consuming and difficult that I took. It gave a very holistic view of the law, and it's hard to fit everything that there is to know into one course, but the comprehensive law studies class definitely did that.
Did you have to learn about evidence?
Yes, we learned about introducing evidence, the chain behind it, the specific steps which needs to be taken. We learn about how it's used, the best ways to use it.
Hagen, did you have a chance to present or coach on any of those issues?
Oh, yeah. I helped out in the classroom quite a bit, especially my first year, talking about some of these issues. And just to kind of piggyback off of what Dorian was saying, this is really a civics class. This is really a civics program. And it's a civics program like no other because you learn the fundamentals, you learn about the Constitution, and you learn about the different clauses and the different rights, but then you see them applied and how they're applied in the courtroom. And as you know, the courtroom is where the Constitution comes alive, and you see it work and you see it you learn these principles, and to see the kids really grasp that and understand that is really something special.
So,
Dorian, tell me, is it just criminal law that you study, or are there other areas of the law?
Absolutely not. There's a vast range of types of law we study. When we're studying civil law, we actually often have retired attorneys come in and teach us firsthand about anything civil they think we should know going into real life. We talk about criminal proceedings and appellate cases. And it's not limited to criminal whatsoever.
Do you actually read cases?
We do personal research on cases where one might choose to read the whole case. But something that the Law Academy has taught us is that there are resources online that put cases in simple forms and make them just easy enough to understand.
Oh, I like to find those sites. So
Yeah.
help me out. So do you actually stay on campus the whole time, or do you get chances to go off campus?
Oh, we have many chances to go off campus. There are field trips and things outside of school hours that are often arranged for the Law Academy. I mean, we went on field trips probably once or twice a month.
Where'd you go?
We went to crime labs in secret departments where they taught us all about fingerprinting and some processes that they go through for collecting evidence.
The Sheriff's Department?
We've been to the Sheriff's Department. We've been to the courthouse probably 3 times. We've been to a Payne Park to meet police officers with canine units who talked to us about what it was to be a police officer who had a dog. It was great.
Do you have friends or fellow students that have taken the law enforcement track?
I do.
And what do they tell you about that?
They tell me that it's a class they're actually excited to go to, that it's geared towards their interest down the road and not only within high school.
So they could be interested in the forensic side of it, the fingerprints, the fluids and all that, and maybe corrections officers too, right?
There were many students who were very interested in our field trip to the jail because they wanted to become corrections officers.
It's always nice to visit the jail.
Yes.
Not so good to have to go there. So what would you think that you have gotten most out of the program?
I think
Let me ask it
power.
this way. Have you, you obviously are very articulate and you're very poised. Is that something your trial skills teach, how to present and how to speak in the courtroom?
They do. And practicing being
like an opening statement,
Yeah.
a closing arguments, those things?
Opening and closing statements, mock questioning.
You had to cross-examine and direct examine?
Cross and direct examinations in the court procedures classes and mock trial team meetings were definitely helped with.
Well, let me ask this. I want to talk about the mock court operation. How does one get involved with that? Like at Booker, if a student's in the academy, how do they say, I want to do the mock court? How does that happen? Apparently it's after normal school hours?
Yes.
Practices.
Practices are after school hours, but we're also expected to take a lot of the mock trial work home. If we find someone who's interested in the team, then they're welcome to show up. It doesn't matter whether they're in the Law Academy or not. If you're in the Law Academy, you have to participate in at least one of the 4 extracurricular clubs or teams.
What are those clubs?
They are the speech and debate team, mock trial team, moot court team, and tornado trials.
Which is kind of like teen court.
Tornado trials is teen court for the high school. We saw a need for a different path of not punishment, but corrective behavior. And when suspensions and in-school suspensions weren't working for some students, we thought that something modeled after teen court could be a good option for our own Booker High School.
Hagen, did you get involved with those clubs?
I helped out a little bit, not as much as I did in the mock trial competition, but you know, we had kids that were in other sports that were able to do it. We really worked with the kids. That was important to be able to give the kids the option of participating that wanted to. And Dorian's being a little bit bashful. She was a very, very good student and really excelled, particularly in the courtroom skills. And that's really what it's about for the kids is, you know, it teaches and allows them to practice their critical thinking skills. It allows them to practice those skills on the fly. And it also, you know, you see a sense of empowerment that the kids gain throughout this process. And by the time that, you know, they're seniors, if they go 4 years in this process, to see a, you know, a 17 or 18-year-old kid be able to get up in front of a group and argue a point or take a position and think on the fly and question a witness is really impressive.
So how do the lawyers support or get involved with the mock trial process?
You know, the attorneys bring the real world perspective to the courtroom. They support it in a number of different ways, but specifically for the mock trial, they help with the training. Alan Perez is currently the coach for Booker's mock trial program after I had to step away.
He's a local attorney.
He's a local attorney at Millard Law Firm. And you know, these attorneys spend a lot of time with these kids teaching these principles and working with them on their presentation. They help support the mock trial competition itself that we mentioned about this weekend, where they'll come and they'll act as jurors, they'll act as judges, and the judges participate. You know, this is really a community effort, and you really see it take shape at the competition when you see the clerk's office there supporting it and volunteering. You see the sheriff's department and the police department there volunteering. You see the attorneys in the jury box that are acting as the juries that are scoring the kids, and the judges are on the bench. And it's really a sight to see.
Yeah, and if I may, when we didn't have anywhere to practice during spring break, our attorney coaches offered their offices for us to go in and work at. And there they were just totally hospitable and gave us the experience of walking into a law firm for the first time. It was great.
Are you telling me that during spring break you weren't at the beach, you were at a law office practicing for mock court?
No, it was the time crunch. The last 2 weeks before the regional competition, we were in the law firm working on our cases. I
mean, just like any other athletic event, you know, those weeks leading up to the event, the pressure really starts to build. Mm-hmm. And you know, that's part of it, to see the kids deal with that pressure and, you know, really execute what they've learned is impressive. But, you know, one of the reasons that this is a great program, especially at Booker High School, is, you know, I mentioned empowering the kids. You know, you have kids coming from all different kinds of circumstances in the public school system, and really a lot of circumstances that you'd consider tough. Anybody would consider tough. And, you know, to see these kids gain self-confidence, to see these kids start to master these really complex issues and be able to put on a competition and have their parents there is something special.
So Dorian, when you were doing your mock trial, was there a particular set of facts or a case that they gave to you that everybody had to work up?
Yes.
What was it when you did it? Do you recall?
I do. It was about 30 to 45 pages of witness statements, which had hidden information about the case embedded. There were some basic fact patterns that were given to us, and we built off of the witness statements, creating a timeline of our interpretation of the events, pinpointing information which might be helpful to our, when we were defending the case versus prosecuting it. We moved slowly in the beginning and used all the supporting documents kind of later in the process. But other than the witness statements we were given, there were also fake medical records and fake police reports and things like that we poured through.
So you had students actually being actors and playing witness roles, right?
Yes, we did.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get a little dramatic, but it's part of the fun process.
Yeah.
Well, folks, any final comments? We're going to have to close out the program here today. Hagen, anything you'd like to say in conclusion?
Just there's so many people that help and go into this program. It really is a community effort, from the teachers to Dr. Shelley at the school, to the judiciary, Judge Williams and Charlie Ann Seipert on the diversity committee. I mean, it's a community effort, and I think it's really for a good cause.
Dorian, you want to give a shout out to any of the teachers at Booker that you think have been special in this program?
Absolutely. Mr. Kelly, our current Law Academy director, is great and involved and on top of his email, which I appreciate. There are just so many great things about the teachers and the other supporters of the Law Academy.
Well, Dorian, I can predict that you're going to have a great career, and I know you'll not have any trouble getting into college. If they do interviews like we've done here today, you'll do fine. But folks, that's all the time we have today. We have a lot to be proud of in Sarasota, especially our schools. The Booker High School Law Academy is one example of an innovative collaboration between lawyers, the school, and our community. Dorian here is an example of the superstars our education system can produce. Now, I understand the Law Academy is open to all eligible students in Sarasota County. Interested parents or children can find more information on the Booker High website at sarasotacountyschools.net. Thank you, folks, for watching. Lee Hayworth signing off.
For more than 36 years, the Community Foundation of Sarasota County has worked one-on-one with estate planning attorneys and their clients to make a lasting impact through philanthropy. Stable, trusted, and knowledgeable, the Community Foundation safeguards the charitable legacies of donors to ensure that they continue for years to come. Visit www.cfsarasota.org or call 955-3000 for more information.